Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. That is Jack. I am Conrad, and this is the 45 Match Week 10 previews. 5 matches, 5 minutes. Nope. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. We'll see. Up first, Everton and Leeds. Everton have just one win in their last 5. Last week against Fulham. That doesn't say much. 1 draw, sitting 6 on 16 points. Leeds, just 1 win in their last 6 with 2 draws, 15th on 11 points. It's interesting for both sides as they kind of both need to rediscover that form that they had at the beginning of the season. But I think it's a bigger game for Leeds, just to get them back into the top half and build some confidence for a club newly promoted, right?
Yeah.
Same time, Everton, they have a lot. I think they have more to lose given some of the expectations of Ancelotti built on how they started the season.
Yeah, I think it is surprising. We talked about Leeds in the start of their season was kind of a big positive for them, but in reality they're 15th, which is kind of surprising. League table doesn't tell everything, especially this early on in the season, I know, but the way we talk about Leeds and how glowing the praise is for them and the results that they've had and the points that they've accumulated seem like a bit of a disconnect right now. So this is a match where they can want to try and reconnect those things, make that praise worthy with a tough match against a pretty good Everton side. They're going to be without Luka Digne, who for a considerable amount of time, 2 months after an injury in training. That's a big deal for them. He's one of the best left backs in the league, which is not very often that Everton have one of the best in any position in the Premier League.
Had 2 solid fullbacks for a long period of time, right? Taking over for Coleman, and who's also probably going to be out.
So it's going to be a tough one for Everton. I think they're going to have to be in that transition, deal with some injuries there. But I think that this is both sides want 3 points. Both of them will be confident to get the 3 points. So it should be a great match to open things off. And I'm just interested to see how proactive Everton decide to be, considering that losing Dean is a big deal for them in the defensive side of things.
Next up, West Brom and Sheffield United.
Thriller. It's a thriller.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So 4 points between the two teams, 10 combined goals, 33 combined conceded. Last year, 4 points is where Watford was after 9 weeks, and they were bottom of the table. So we joked during the
Watford.
during the what are we thankful for?
Oh, yeah.
And Fulham was thankful for both of these clubs being demonstrably worse than they are.
Yeah.
And most notably, Sheffield United not doing as well as they were last year, and they've scored. They can't score. I mean, that's their problem.
The reason I mentioned Watford is because we always called them Atford in the beginning of last year. We call them Bromwich. Bromwich. You can't pronounce it the same a little bit, but they've both been quite poor. But this is a 6-pointer. Get a bit of confidence, get a bit of the juices flowing, get things started. Sheffield United, not known for a team that presses the ball a lot. West Brom, a team that has scored some goals against some pretty good teams, put 3 past Chelsea before they what felt like inevitably 3 more was going to go past them to blow that match. So this is another one where we say every week Sheffield United play a relatively poor side, and we say, okay, this is the week that they have a chance to break out, maybe get some offensive rhythm going on the final third. But we remains to be seen if Chris Wilder will help prove us right.
I think this is the match where Sheffield United wake up. I really do think that. I think this is medicine for them, this matchup coming when it's coming off of the dismal first 25% of the season. I think they're going to – this could be a 3-0, 3-1.
2-3 days from now, I'll play that exact clip, and you'll either look like an absolute idiot or you look like a kind of guy
that's no different than anything else that comes out of it.
And that is very accurate. But this, I think it's actually going to be an interesting one. Very rarely can you say that a 19th versus 20th is going to be a fun game, but this one should actually be quite interesting to see the implications.
Teams, we'll see. Next up, Southampton and Man United. So if you had Southampton in 5th place and Man United in 11th place for the Week 10 match, I'll call you a liar. There's no way you could have predicted this situation right now. Even without Ings, Southampton have the momentum. They're unbeaten. Didn't I mute? That's a fine. That's a very large fine.
Wow. Wow. That was loud.
Even without Ings, Southampton, they've got momentum. Unbeaten over the last 5, 3 wins. United coming off of the midweek European win, 3-win over Besiktas here at home. They just need to develop consistency. Mm-hmm. Even over their last 5, they've won 3, but that was after the 6-1 crush job from Spurs. So again, They've been up and down, and they're just going to look to build some consistency, I think.
Exactly. Consistency is what they have been striving for. They haven't been able to acquire very much. Southampton, on the other hand, I think that they're hosting this match. They might be the favorites, even without Danny Ings, which is such a stunning thing for Manchester United to deal with, that you are no longer the dog you once were. I know this is not the moment where you realize that specifically, but United have to begin to prove themselves in some of these kind of tougher matchups. They did pretty well against Everton earlier on this year, which is a very similar one. I think there's a lot of similarities between Everton and Southampton, two great tactical managers who are getting a lot out of their side. But this is a match where Manchester United dealing with a few injury problems on their own.
4 questions. Lingard, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, Rashford.
I think Wan-Bissaka is a guy who's proven me wrong a lot. He's been pretty good this year so far. He'd be a pretty big loss to have. No Shaw, but you have Tellez, who did phenomenally against Başakşehir. Remains to be seen if he can translate that into Premier League form. But I think this is we always talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the United form that they have whenever he's under pressure. The pressure's off a little bit now because they've won 3 straight since we were questioning his job. Still sitting 11th. This is, I think, do you want to just be a manager who fluctuates between being on the hot seat and being slightly, all right, we're going up and then back down? This is the kind of match you need to win. It's off of a good run. You need to get this victory to get yourself further away from the hot seat and to prove that this isn't just a case of, you did well in a few matches when the pressure was hot, but when you let off a little bit, United need to prove that they can keep the gas going.
Be interesting. I think Southampton having the full week to prepare only on United, Hasenhüttl will be ready for them, and I agree. I think he's going to find a way for Southampton to get the full 3 out of this.
It's going to be a tough match for both sides.
Next up, proper London derby, title tilt here. Chelsea and Spurs. The question is, are both of these clubs as good as they look?
Mm-hmm.
Spurs perhaps a little bit overperforming based on their expected points at this point of the season. But they're both in exceptional form. Is Lampard going to go on the attack? Is Mourinho going to sit back again and look to counter? Mourinho's going to have his full tactics book ready for this one. He looks like he's really enjoying himself, and a happy Mourinho really is a successful Mourinho. Mm-hmm. And this is a different guy compared to the last 2 stints in the Premier League.
Yeah, you say happy Mo, successful Mo, but also successful Mo causes happy Mo. I think he's only happy whenever they're winning matches. It's a very good cycle whenever that is maintained. But this is going to be a phenomenal one against his former employers of 2 stints. And these are 2 of the most exciting teams in the Premier League. You mentioned it. We don't know how for real both of them are. So we just know that on Twitter, some fans are going to look like idiots because they've been hyping their team up, and some fans are going to seem vindicated, or it could just be a pretty boring draw like we've seen from some results for Chelsea. I'm most fascinated to see the defensive strength or frailty of Chelsea. We've talked a lot about them being great defensively with Mendy and net, but they haven't faced the toughest of tests just yet. They lost to Liverpool earlier in the year, but that was with Kepa in net. There's the Kepa tax, plus they had a red card.
Yeah.
But Spurs are great on the counter, so it's going to be a different animal for Chelsea to deal with. You're at home, so you're obviously going to have the onus on you to attack, and not that there's a self-conscious desire to play on the front foot for Spurs, but they'll have every reason to sit back and use Kane and Son, Bergwijn, Bale, all on the counter to try and get the best out of a pretty good and pretty tough to break down Chelsea defense. I'm very excited for this match. All those 4 that we've done so far today have been great matches to preview and be excited for, but this one I think is my favorite for the week.
I agree. I think Chelsea can't be running for their lives because they'll lose badly. If they try to play too high, they'll get shredded.
I think Lampard's prepared, though. I think Lampard isn't going to lean too far into it. I think we think he's pretty naive compared to Mourinho, but I think he's also going to be quite prepared himself. So this is just going to be a great one all around.
I think he probably learned a lot from the beginning of the year when he couldn't get a clean sheet. Right?
Exactly.
And they were just, all of a sudden he's like, okay, we got to actually knuckle down here.
Exactly.
I think it was, is it all just down to the confidence of the defense in front of Mendy versus Kepa?
You know, if I am a center back and I know that I've got Mendy versus Kepa behind me, I mean, Kepa's obviously a professional goalkeeper, and if it was me playing, I'd be like, wow, he's great.
Yeah.
But in the form he was in, he was
terrible.
Dreadful.
Decision-making.
And I think it could have been, if I was put in net, I was a fresh guy with fresh confidence, that might have been a bit of a confidence booster as well. Now, would I perform at the level of Kepa? That definitely is a big fat no.
He'd been better, yeah.
He'd have been a bit better. But that is not very high praise for Kepa.
Last for us this weekend, Arsenal home to Wolves. So Arsenal have only lost once in their last 19 against Wolves. But that's courtesy of PremierLeague.com.
Mm-hmm.
That does not matter because the last time they lost was 2019. Yeah, some of those guys are around.
Yeah.
But Wolves are better right now, and they need to prove it. They need to come out and get the job done. 2 wins, 2 draws in their last 5. Arsenal have just scored 2 goals in their last 5. They've won 1, and they've managed to draw 3 of those. We talk about the creativity problem, and I think the way Wolves play with that flexible back line is going to cause Arsenal fits. And unless Aubameyang score, they don't do anything.
Here's their last 5 matches. 1-0 loss to Man City.
The tough competition.
1-0 loss to Leicester. 1-0 win over Manchester United. 3-0 loss to Villa. 0-0 draw to Leeds. 1 goal scored in that time. Pretty good defensively. You've only conceded 1 goal in 2 matches. You held a clean sheet, and then the other match you conceded 3, and then you also had the 1-0 win over United. So they've been defensively really good against a really tough 5 matches, and now 6 matches with Wolves here. So they've had a really tough spot on their schedule, but they only have 4 points to show from those last 5 games. That's bad for Arsenal.
2 goals.
That's bad for Arsenal. 2 goals is bad. Even less than that. I think that's just 1 goal. It's just 1 goal. The 1 goal in the United game.
I got 2. But.
Yeah, you were even more fortunate to them.
I'm trying to give them help.
But Wolves are good defensively. They know how to maximize the XG where they get good chances, and they say, at the end of the day, luck decides a lot, but let's just make good opportunities, and the rest will come.
It's their midfield, Arsenal midfield. Outside of Partey, who's not going to create much. He's going to
That's not his job.
He's going to protect that back 4, but
Arsenal are not scoring goals. Aubameyang, I think, needs to have a breakout performance. Yes, you can blame the creativity, but at some point, you're the captain. Is he the captain? Maybe he's the captain.
I don't think Xhaka is.
Well, anyways, he is your best player if he's not the captain, if I was wrong on that. Go pick up the ball from deep and create something. Take the onus upon yourself to make opportunities. It's a tough run for Arsenal, and this is probably the toughest bit for Arteta as a manager because there are a lot of question marks around him. People are saying, oh, if he wasn't Spanish, if he hadn't put out the training cones for Pep Guardiola, would we have a lot more questions about him, considering how lackadaisical and poor in the offensive third they look. This is not going to be an easy match.
No Pepe either.
And
Luis and Willian look like they're going to be game-time decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Cody looks like he'll be back for Wolves. So they're a little bit healthier and less suspended than Arsenal. I think this is really important for Wolves. I think they need these 3. You can say that for both of these sides. I think Wolves will end up nicking this in the end. It could be like a 3-2,
very
2-1.
well could be. This again, 5 great matches this weekend, and even more than that. It was
hard.
We were talking before this because we wanted to pick 5 because the footy 5 want to keep on brand. But we were saying, all right, why don't we just do 10 because this is just a great weekend. There was just great matchups all up and down the board.
That'll do it for us for our Week 10 preview. Please comment. Let us know what you think. Make fun of us when we're wrong. Do subscribe. Look for us on the Twitter at the 45. Take care now.